Please join me in welcoming AT&T's Glenn Lurie.
Good morning. Okay, this is a two-way thing. Good morning. Perfect. Folks, I can't let Meredith leave the stage. By the way, this is Meredith's third show. And look, what you're gonna see this week and all the work that's happened and all the things that are going good in CTIA, her vision, her leadership, her commitment has been phenomenal. So please give her another round of applause.
Thank you. You're awesome.
So good morning. It's my honor and privilege as chairman to welcome you to CTIA Supermobility 2016. This is going to be a phenomenal show. I'm excited about the show. Hopefully you've taken a peek out on the floor. It has never looked better. I'm also excited about where this show's going. And before I dive in, I want to make sure all of you saw the news. We have consummated a deal that brings GSMA, who hopefully you all know very, very well, and CTIA together to bring in 2017 in San Francisco a next level show. And as I talk today about the leadership we have in the United States, as I talk today about where we are, this country deserves a next level show. So I'm very excited about that opportunity. Today, the United States leads the wireless world, period. The people in this room, and many who are not here, have literally changed the way people live, work, and play forever. If you think about it, from the smartphone to IoT, the Internet of Things, to high-speed networks, we in the US have led the way globally. The key is that we have to continue to do this. The key is where we're headed in the future. In my humble opinion, it's never been a more exciting time than right now in the wireless business. And as I will probably age myself numerous times, I've been in it a long time. Look at these three words. These three words are I'll call the golden thread throughout my talk today. Very important, we talk about innovation, we talk about participation, and we talk about investment. Innovation has got to be consistent and a driven focus, and it has been. We will talk about that. Participation is about everybody in the US, in this industry, working together to keep the United States in the lead. And investment, we know investment well. We've invested more than any other country in the globe since the beginning of time of wireless. So today, what I want to do is I want to talk about where are we today. Are we leading? I promise you I'll bring some proof points to show that we are. I also want to talk about what we must do to stay in the lead as we move forward. But I'm going to date myself again. I want to take a look at some outlandish predictions that were made a few years ago. Please roll the video.
Have you ever opened doors
I'm home.
with the sound of your voice?
Our card, please.
Carried your medical history in your wallet?
Your wife's gonna be just fine.
So this is where we stand on the atrium stage.
Or attended a meeting
I really like what you guys have been doing, but
in your bare feet?
I may have a few other ideas.
You will. Have you ever paid a toll without slowing down? Bought concert tickets from a cash machine?
Yeah, perfect.
Or tucked your baby in from a phone booth? You will. Have you ever borrowed a book from thousands of miles away? Across the country?
Gesture ahead. Take next exit.
Without stopping for directions?
Alternate route 101.
or sent someone a fax. From the beach, you will. Have you ever watched the movie you wanted to,
Science fiction.
the minute you wanted to? Learn special things
That's all taken from jazz. Now, any questions?
from faraway places?
Oakland?
So where did jazz come from?
Good question.
You will. And the company that'll bring it to you, AT&T.
How many remember those commercials? You're all laughing. You're all laughing. By the way, when you look at those commercials, how have we done? Pretty amazing when you think about, by the way, let me ask this. First of all, who recognized the voice in the commercial? Tom Selleck. So you're old like I am. It's good. Magnum PI for you young folks. You don't know who it is. I got it. Tom Selleck. By the way, those commercials were aired what year? 1993. 23 years ago. Think about that. Think about, the thought process back then is from a payphone. Anybody seen a payphone lately? It's incredible what's happened in what I will call a relatively short period of time. And what's really important as we think about this is I want to take a second before I talk about where are we today and how are we doing today. And I'm also obviously going to talk about what we have to do going forward. Let's take a look back for a second. Because many of us in this room, I'll make fun of myself. I've been around almost 27 years in the wireless business, right? You got to think back as to what's the foundation of why we're here and what we've done. By the way, before I go there, we all need to be very, very proud of where we are. You look at those commercials, and they were futuristic, and we blew by them like nothing. And what my focus today is going to be on 3 areas. And by the way, it's phones, it's value that we brought our customers over the years, and it's networks. I do say phones, not devices, because we're going backwards. We're looking back at where we were. So let's start with phones. Now, this is a little thought-packing process here for many of you. Okay, so if you look at what I have on the screen, so first of all, this is the participation part. How many folks in here owned a bag phone? Raise your hands. Okay, you're all old like I am. You all thought you were pretty cool, right? Head on your shoulder, walking down the street. You actually did that. You all know you did, right? So you think about those. By the way, I sold a lot of bag phones. That's why I'm on the stage, because I started in sales. And they were great. We sold them for about $1,500 a piece. And you think about the maturation of devices, right? We thought we had gone a long way when we all had an MC750. Motorola guy sitting up here up front, right? The MC750, the Ultra Classic, the big brick phones with the big 3dB gain antennas. You guys thought you were pretty cool. You walked around with that. Then in 2005, something crazy happened. We launched the Motorola Razr. What did the Razr do? Made phone calls. Right? It had incredible technology like T9. Anybody remember T9? Right? You used to hit the button 3 times and try to we didn't even text in those days. We actually had a WAP browser on that device. That was awesome. Right? Remember? Think about the fact that just 9 years ago, we launched the first iPhone. It was a 2G iPhone. And then 1 year later, we launched the 3G iPhone, and something crazy was born, which was the App Store. And the reason I bring this up is it just shows you how fast things are changing. Just 9 years ago. It's incredible. The other thing I want you to think about, everybody in this room has a smartphone in their hand or their pocket. Many of you are looking at it right now. It's all good. As long as you're on AT&T, it's all good. The key element of that is that phone is not a phone. That phone has become the remote control for your life. It drives everything that you do. The other thing that changed during this era that we don't think about all the time, and it's one of my favorite quotes from early in my days, is one big thing changed. We stopped calling places and started calling people. It wasn't I'm going to call home or the office. It's I'm going to call Glenn. Massive transformation that happened during this period of time. Let's talk about value. So when I started in the business in 1990, for those of you out there that are on the younger side, there was no nights and weekends. There was no mobile to mobile. In fact, there was no nationwide calling. Think about that for a second. I know that seems like a long time ago. Over the years, our industry has changed rapidly, right? And Meredith said it, competition has driven phenomenal innovation in our industry. And not just innovation around hardware, innovation around offers, rates, customer experience. We have done a phenomenal job in the United States at meeting our customers' needs. Overall value has improved dramatically over the years. And let's not forget, we were supposedly late to the game on messaging, which obviously changed everything from a standpoint of how we text and MMS. The transformation has been phenomenal. Probably our greatest and key asset is our networks. And the change here has been equally phenomenal over the years. The foundation was set with 2G. We all remember 2G very well. 2G was about voice. We went to 3G, and we just started to see the beginnings of what would become the data revolution. You have to know, for many of us in the industry, every year was the year of data for about 12 years. And it never happened. And then all of a sudden, we got to 3G, and then all of a sudden 4G came, and data started to boom. And obviously now, today, with our 4G LTE networks, my question to everybody is, what can't you do? The work has been tremendous. The leadership in this country has been phenomenal for the globe. On 5G, I'm not going to get there yet because that's future. Great promise, lots of excitement about what that can be and what that can do for our industry. So, you think about that, the foundation, where we come from, kind of how we got to today. And now what I want to focus on, again, going back to my golden thread, right? We innovated, we participated together as an industry, and we invested to get where we are today. The key is that we're leading. Now we've got to look at proof points to say, well, Glenn, are we really leading? Show me and prove to me that we're driving the mobile industry globally. And here are the areas I want to hit. I want to talk about our networks, apps, competition, value, and overall growth. Let's start here. The United States has more nationwide LTE network that cover more people than every other country in the world. We're talking about 99.6% of the United States population can get 4G LTE today. That's a global lead by quite some. It's an incredible feat that we've done because we've invested in our networks, and we've invested and we've competed. If you look at this next point, very, very important point. The apps world. Many people say the apps world was born here from a standpoint of Apple launching the App Store first and launching it first in the United States. The app economy is $120 billion. If you look at the chart, 74% of creators are in the US. Our US customers have more apps on their phones than anybody else in the world. So let me give you an idea of some quick stats. We today have to choose from 5.4 million apps. 5.4 million apps. Remember I told you the App Store was born when? In 2008. You all out there, probably not you guys, because you guys are all kind of crazy like I am. The average customer, 37 apps on their phone. They use 12 different apps a day. It's phenomenal. That is the #1 in the world. Let's talk about operators. Today, the United States has more wireless operators than any other country in the world. We have over 100 active facility-based wireless service providers in the United States. Right? This is all about choice for our customers. It's all about competition, which I think we all might agree we have a pretty competitive marketplace. How about this stat? 97% of the United States population has a choice of 3 or more 4G LTE-based providers. I would say that drives competition. And as I talked about earlier, if you saw the value change in our business, now you say to yourself, well, what's happening with value? And value continues to get better and better and better for the consumer and end user. The United States consumes more minutes, 2.9 trillion minutes in 2015. Let me give you a couple other stats that actually even surprised me. We use 9.6 trillion megabytes in 2015. 1.9 trillion texts, and 218 billion MMS. Think about that. Think about where we were just, like I said, 8 years ago, 5 years ago. Completely changed in the type of usage that's happening here in the US because of the investment, because of the participation of all of you in the ecosystem to drive it. Here's another one that I think you all will not be surprised by. The United States has more total monthly data traffic than any other country in the world, and we outpace in growth. Our growth from 14 to 15, 138%. The smartphone evolution has been phenomenal, and then you throw on top of that this, what some people are calling new, I think we're just scratching the surface, which is video. Video is driving a massive growth. What we do know is our customers are starting to expect any place, any time, any device that they can get their content. And that is going to continue to drive massive growth in our networks and massive growth in data. So, do we all agree we're leading? Two-way. You agree? United States is leading the globe, yes? Yes, that was pretty weak. Come on, what do you think, yes? A little better, a little better. Now, let's think and talk for a second about what do we have to go do to deliver the future? What do we have to do to continue our leadership position in the globe? Remember the golden thread again. We've gotten here by innovating all the time, continuously and constantly. We've gotten here by participating, meaning everybody in the ecosystem working together to make sure we stay in that lead. And we've gotten here by massive, I mean, Meredith said it and you guys know it, massive investment. The three places that I want to focus on, again, next generation networks, IoT, and the customer experience. If we dive into next generation networks, I think there's been a little bit of talk about 5G. I remind everybody 4G LTE is really good. In fact, it's phenomenal. And the promise of 5G is very exciting. What we need to stay focused on is delivering 5G for our customers, delivering the promise of what it is. We need to do what we did with 4G LTE, which is lead the globe as we go towards 5G. And the excitement of 10x speeds and 5x latencies and all the things that we talk about and that you read about every day. We need to continue to invest in advanced capabilities in our networks. We've done this in the past, we can do it in the future. I'm talking about things such as small cell, millimeter wave, right? Talking about security, IoT solutions, platforms. I can go on and on and on. But the key is to continue to build upon our networks as we have, and we know we must do to deliver those customer end results that we want. And three, we have to embrace open source, software-centric solutions. Look, virtualizing your network is as simple as taking the network from a hardware network to a software-centric network. We know this drives unbelievable flexibility and scalability with the growth that we all know we're going to see. It also simply makes everything faster, better, and cheaper. Next, one of my favorite topics, the Internet of Things. Look, we have led the Internet of Things from day one. The key is that the future of our industry, the future of what we do is the connected life. Everything, folks, everything that has current running through it is going to be connected. A connected device, a connected thing is smart. A non-connected device or thing is dumb. The future is about smart devices. As I said, we've led and we need to widen our lead. We are just scratching the surface today. And when you look at these numbers, they keep going up because we keep doing more and more and more. 75 billion connected things by 2025. You think about the verticals, every single vertical is on fire. Car, home, wearable, industrial, medical, smart cities, and more. I can go on and on. They will kick me off this stage, okay? This is critical. But as we think about connecting everything, as we think about our end user, my last point here is really critical. It's about the customer experience. I may argue the most critical thing we have to do. Our customers want to be connected. We should help them be connected from the time they wake up to the time they go to bed. All things in their life need to be connected, but we need to do it in a simple, seamless, and effortless way. We cannot intimidate people. You heard the app story, people using 12 apps a day. I actually would argue that in a connected life, you want to use one app. You want one experience. And if we're going to get the velocity that we need in this space, we must make it simple. Think about when you wake up, your smartphone knows you're up and your home knows you're up, and they are communicating. Think about them both communicating with your car and then communicating with your city. And all of a sudden, these inanimate objects are taking care of you versus you taking care of them. We will truly live the promise of making people's lives better. We also, as Meredith talked about, need a little help. As we go forward, right, it's very, very important that we work closely and we get support from our policymakers. Meredith brought up a few of the things that are very important to us. We do, without question, need less, or I'll even call it light touch policy and regulation. We need to encourage, not control, evolution from our policymakers. We need to avoid regulation for regulation's sake. We need regulation that encourages the investment and the innovation that has happened the last 30 years. If that happens and we can really get to consumer decisions versus government decisions, we will have a wonderful stars aligned to go grow and continue for the US to be the leader of the globe. I want to say it again, we have an incredible history in this room, folks not in this room, that we should all be incredibly proud of where we are today. We need to continue to lead the global wireless revolution. And it's my humble opinion that to do that and to keep that leadership position, we must keep innovating. When you go on that floor, you will see it, you will feel it, that we have incredible innovation, incredible companies, incredible people making it happen here in the United States. We must continue to have participation. The key to participation is that we do it together, right? We go, we look, and we make sure as an industry, as an ecosystem, as the United States, that we go drive this so we can stay in the lead. And last, but certainly not least, I'll say it again, I know I've said it multiple times, we gotta continue the incredible investment. As Meredith said, we've invested more in the United States than any other industry, and as an industry, we've invested more than anybody on the globe, and we must continue to do that. So, in closing, my final thoughts are this. We work in the greatest industry in the world, without question. I would argue that we right now are at the best point in time ever in this industry. That's the greatest industry in the world. I would also argue that we work with the best people. Look around this room. At the best point in time in the greatest industry in the world. And it doesn't get any better than that. Thank you guys very much.